So Anthony Lakes uh, is up about 20 minutes from our house. And I was pregnant with Brent. Let's see, this was in June of 63. So I was about 4.5 months pregnant. And we lived what they called the guard station. And we had the only flush toilet and bathtub in the whole area. So there was a young man that lived with Ed and I. Anyway, I wanted to take a bath. And so I got in the bathroom, got all naked, started to put water in, and there's a frog in the bathtub. And I'm scared to death of anything that moves. And so I went from the bathroom into the kitchen naked, got a can, an empty can, came back, put the can over the frog, took it up the side of the tub, down the side, and I'm backing out, so I'm naked, and here's my gut, and everything's hanging down, and I take this poor little frog across the floor, underneath the can, into the kitchen, going out the door on the porch, naked. And the trail crew and Ed are coming in for lunch. And Ed sees the butt first. And all these guys, and Janice. And I said, just a minute, I'm really busy. Still not realizing that I'm naked. And this poor little frog under the can. Anyway, Ed got to me. The trail crew saw everything. But nobody said a word. That's my frog story. Okay, and then I love to fish. Mm-hmm. But I have a tough time getting the hook off of a moving fish. So up at Anthony Lakes, there's no motorboats. It's all rowboats or fishing on the side. And there's a great big rock that I used to go fish on. And so I had my fish box, and I didn't have a license. So I'm still pregnant, and I would take the fish, and I couldn't get the hooks out. So I laid the fish to the side of me, flip-flopping around. I put a rock on it. So it'd quit flopping, and then I would just clip the leader line and the hook. Then I'd take my little box, and I'd tie another hook on, more leader line, and I had 10 rainbow trout all lined up in a row with a rock on them. But I couldn't fish anymore because I'd run out of hooks and I'd run out of leader line. And the fish and game guy came to check my license. So he looks down and hears all my fish. And he never did check the license because the license I had was Ed's sister's, who we don't look at all alike. So that's my fish story at Anthony Lakes. And then we had golden mantle chipmunks, and they're little. And this is hard to believe, but they would crawl up my arm and come across, and they'd sit here on my shoulder. And I would take bread and put peanut butter on them and butter them in little pieces. I don't know if you've ever seen a chipmunk try to eat peanut butter, but they are really funny because they can't get it off the roof of their mouth. And so Ed would come back, and I'm here. I got all my little chipmunks around me. Anyway, Anthony Lakes holds a lot of memories. The guardhouse is still there.
Really?
That we lived in. Yeah, you can rent it now as a summer rental.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But then right after that, then I got sicker, and I couldn't be at that altitude, so I had to go down to the ranch.
That's funny.
Yeah.
How far away is it from your place?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, that's really cool.
So he had to stay up there because he was over the campgrounds and all of that. Oh, there was another funny one. There's a guy, we had what we call fire station lookouts, fire lookouts. And so up the mountain, we're we're at one elevation, and this one they're pretty high. And he sniffed glue, the fire looked up. And he would always call fires in to get Ed and Brill out of the house. And then he'd want to talk to me on the radio. Well, then Brill and Ed got this bright idea that I should go visit him at the lookout. And I don't know if you know what a lookout is, but it's not as big as this room. And you climb up a really steep outside, and then there's glass all around it, and they're in there. Well, he was a big talker, but he was scared to death. My mom's not going to want you to come up here. Don't you come up those stairs. Oh, my mom will be so. And Ed and Brill are right here behind the rock, just dying laughing. So they always got me into trouble.
That's funny. So you need to tell about the tornado. Was that the tornado when Michelle came home from the hospital?
Oh, yeah. So we were living in, so this is May. Well, it was actually June because we were in the hospital 10 days. We brought her home from the hospital on a Sunday. And Mom and Dad had flown in the night before from Utah. And they were going to stay there and help us. And I'd had to have a cesarean with her. And I was, anyway, we were sitting in our trailer. So we lived in a mobile home that was 10 by 57. And it was an old York, it was a brand new York, but they were small, York trailer. And we're sitting at the kitchen table looking out. And our neighbor next door was running down the road. And Mom didn't want me to go to Oklahoma. I mean, I was leaving Utah, I was leaving the mountains. She didn't feel too keen on it. And then to have her first grandchild there. Well, Carolyn, Ed went out and he says, Carolyn, what's the matter? He thought something had happened to her husband. And she said, there's a tornado above the base. And Ed said, no, we had no warning. She said, look up. So Ed looks up and there's a tornado with 5 fingers.
Oh my gosh.
And so he just ran in the house, told Carolyn, get in the van or get in the car, the station wagon, and get her 2 kids. And he told Mom and Dad, Ron, we'll get in the car right now. And they just picked up Michelle and wrapped her in a blanket. No diapers, nothing. No food. And I was hobbling because of the cesarean.
Mm-hmm.
We got in the van or in the car and go to the, what do you call it? The shelter for tornadoes so that you were safe. It was locked.
Oh, gosh.
So then he took us to the Airman's Barracks, and it had cement down the hallway. So here we were all sitting in the hallway, and I was trying to nurse and was not having much success. But the only way that I could have any privacy was go into the men's john. So I'm sitting on a toilet in the men's room with no doors on the toilet, trying to nurse this kid that's screaming. An airman comes, and he's got just these boxer shorts on because they'd come in there to shower.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his shaving kit, and he looks around, and here's Mom, and here's me, and here's a couple of other women, and we're all in the bathroom. And he said, what's going on? And so Ed told him that there was a tornado, and he said a few kind words. I've been living here for I don't know how many months, and I've never seen a tornado. So we were in that shelter. We went over about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At 11 o'clock at night, they finally said we could go to the trailer. And Ed and Dad went to the trailer to make sure it was still there. And it was pouring down bucket of rain. And the trailer was there. Mom and I stayed in the shelter in Michelle. And the guy, Ed rolled the window down. The airman wanted to know what we needed, and the guy wanted a cigarette lit.
Mhm.
So he stuck a cigarette through the window. Ed lit the cigarette for him off the lighter. Anyway, Ed comes back to get us. And so Michelle has never had a diaper change, cloth diapers. She had had nothing to eat. What little bit she could get off of me, which was not a lot. We get there, get her in bed, get mom calmed down because she's ready to move back to Utah right away. We weren't staying in this hellhole in Oklahoma. And it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We just finally got everybody settled down, and they came around with a blowhorn saying tornado. And mom didn't wait to listen for what the rest of it was. She grabbed up Michelle and she said, "We're leaving." And it was tornado alert all over.
Gosh.
So mom was never fond of Oklahoma.
No. And
Yeah.
she wasn't dramatic at all, was she?
Oh my Lord. Yeah, she was quite dramatic.
All right, now you need to tell the story about your psychosis episode.
Okay, so I had been in the hospital in Denver at National Jewish Hospital for about 5 weeks. And we got home, and the psychosis probably, they put me on a high dose of steroids, and the psychosis probably started as as Michelle and I and the boys were traveling home from Denver. But Michelle and Avery, and Ryan was a baby, and Aiden was about 3. We made it to the ranch, and I don't remember any of this, but this is what they tell me happened. Um, I guess before it went into full bloom, the psychosis, I I do something with the knives? What happened with all the knives?
We took all the knives from her. You took Aiden aside and said, "We gotta do this and do that." You hid in the bathroom with him.
Oh yeah, I locked the door, that Michelle said. I had Ryan and Aiden in there, and I was teaching them something about the knives if somebody got us.
My gosh.
And so it kept getting worse. And Michelle, we had a doctor, Dr. Dave Richards, and he was so good. And he said, Michelle said, "I think we better call Dr. Richards." I don't remember that. I don't remember any of that. And so Avery has never really been around me very much. And here's this, and I guess I swore like a truck driver, had terrible, terrible language. I was strong. And he said, did he come out then?
Yeah.
He drove out to the ranch, and he made some phone calls, and he told Dad, "I'm not sure that I can bring her out of this." But I was extremely strong. So he said, "We need to go to the hospital." So Avery and Michelle got me in the car, and I did what? Well, first I got in the car, Avery said. And then they put me in the pickup because I kept getting out of the car. And so the the pickup didn't have 4 doors.
Mm-hmm.
So they stuck me in the back in this little bungee seat, and I'm swearing and trying to get to Avery, and Ed's trying to drive the 10, 12 miles to the hospital. And um, I'm acting really bad, really naughty. And did the ambulance come? Who got me out? Who got me out of the car? Did you and Avery get me out of the car? Where did the wheelchair come in?
Ordinary wheelchair.
So how did I rip Dr. Richard's shirt? Dr. Richards, he said I got a hold of the front of his shirt.
And you put you in bed.
Oh, that's right. You said they put me in bed.
In the hospital.
Well, anyway, the firemen came and the ambulance stars, and they were in the hospital room, and I stripped. I took my clothes off. I ripped my shirt, my T-shirt, ripped my garments, carefully took off my bra, and showed my breasts to all of them. And Rosemary Dayhoff, our friend in Haines, she was one of the nurses, and she said, I just stuck the boobs out like this, and I said, these are the only healthy thing on me. This is what I'm telling the fireman and the ambulance driver. These are the only healthy things on me, and you better know that. You better take care of them. And I just kept getting. I was really naughty. I hit the nurses. Um, I
tried to take your blood, but you smacked them.
I smacked them. I hit
When
them.
they were trying to take your blood pressure?
Just anything, yeah.
Just anything they did, she'd smack them?
Oh, yeah.
And you ripped the doctor's shirt, apparently.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
And so they gave me a whole bunch of medicine shots. Didn't they give me shots?
Calm me down.
And said it would calm me down. Well, it didn't. I just became stronger.
Oh my gosh.
And so about what time in the middle of the night did you ask him if you could lay by me?
Oh, you asked that. They gave you a civil shot. They said this should put an elephant down.
Yeah, should knock her out.
And I called in bed with you to calm me down and hold you. And if you weren't better by the next morning, you go into a mental hospital, and Dr. Richards said, I don't know if you'll ever come back out.
Wow.
But several people, like Dr. Richards, he still to this day, if he puts anybody on steroids, he's the head of the emergency room there. He says, I tell them, they tell you that psychosis can happen with this. I never believed it until my patient, and this is what happened. And the nurses, Delta Evans has passed away, or Davis, but Rosemary's still there, and several of the younger nurses. And I guess the language was poor Avery. He had never heard me say hell. I used language that I didn't know, but I was very, very strong. But I came out.
And this was all just from like a high dose of steroids to treat one of your, like, was it the lupus or the MS or just anything?
They had diagnosed the interstitial lung disease several months before I went to National Jewish, and they had found other autoimmune diseases, and they were just trying to calm things down. I don't remember what the dosage was, but I think it was close to 100.
My gosh.
So now they will never put me above 25, and I stay on 5 the rest of my life.
Wow.
But it's amazing how many people remember this.
Really?
That worked with me.
Well, it was so out of character for you, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's not you at all.
Yeah.
It's probably
but that showing my boobs and saying that, oh my Lord. I just ripped everything. But not my bra.
Hey, you gotta take care of those, because apparently they are the only thing that's not sick on your body.
Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's the psychosis. So Ed, we believe that when they say that women do bad things or with psychosis.
Yeah.
I had no control. I had no memory of it at all. But I've heard the story so many times. And Avery has never mentioned it.
Really?
Never.
Huh.
Has he, Ed?
No.
It's like, I don't want to remember that part of my mother-in-law.
Yeah. He's probably scared of you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.